this episode of Dolce Vita, let's check out some delicious ways to go green. Learn everything about the latest in modern and stylish accommodation. See how Will Fang went from a cookie connoisseur to an entrepreneur. And experience a truly unique jewelry making process. Although Chinese cuisine has a long history, it keeps up with the times. While healthy eating trends continue to grow, chefs continue to explore greener ways to recreate classic dishes without abandoning authenticity. Living a sustainable lifestyle is a lot more than reducing waste. Having a healthy diet also plays an important role. By combining natural and ethically sourced ingredients and innovative ways of cooking, the variety of vegetarian dishes can be endless. What's more, the tasty dishes change people's perception towards plant-based dining and promotes a healthy lifestyle for the body and the environment. Using only plants and meat alternatives to recreate signature Chinese dishes is a challenge for a chef's creativity and cooking techniques. But culinary art is all about pushing boundaries. Here, the chef strikes the perfect balance between sweet and sour in this vegetarian smoked cod. There's delight in every bite. In recent years, more and more people are starting to become vegetarian or following a semi-vegetarian diet, which means eating mostly vegetarian, but sometimes incorporating meat or seafood into the diet, or sometimes just choosing a few days of the month to go meatless.
That is true. I do have several friends who have recently become vegetarians, and they've tried to get me involved as well. However, being a lifelong meat lover, having only vegetables meal after meal just seems a bit bland, you know?
Oh, Darren, don't you know a modern vegetarian dish has so many ways to make it, and it's anything but bland and boring, and it's more than just vegetables. Made from pea and soy protein, this plant-based chicken is an excellent source of protein. Cooked with cashew, Sichuan peppercorn, and chili, the mala chicken here is just as aromatic and delicious as any Sichuan dish that you would usually have. Dry fried beef flat rice noodles is a dish that is served everywhere from dai pai dongs to fine dining restaurants. Here, the flavorsome dish is cooked with plant-based beef. This Hong Kong favorite is perfect for people who are making their first step to go vegetarian. Darren, did you know there's actually a lot of benefits to going vegetarian? Because if you actually plan to cook your meals yourself, you'll know exactly what's going into your body and you'll learn more about nutrition and your optimal dietary needs.
You're absolutely right. My vegetarian friends tell me the same thing. They try plant-based diet because they want to have a healthier lifestyle, as well as they want to do their part for their environment and take a stand against animal cruelty.
Now that's a good cause I can stand behind. Shiitake mushroom is seldom served on its own, but this time the chef uses it as the main ingredient. The mushroom is cut along the edge, creating an eel-like strip, with a sweet and sticky honey glaze and sesame seeds sprinkled on top. Thus, the shiitake mushroom is jam-packed with umami flavor. If you consider yourself to be an adventurous diner, this vegetarian eel is something you can't miss. Soy-derived ingredients are used in many plant-based meats, but there are exceptions, like the vegetarian squid here, which is made of coconut meat. With a crispy batter that fried perfectly to a golden brown crunch, this is a dish that you'll keep wanting more. So, Darren, what did you think of this meal?
I thought it was an absolute eye-opener. I can't believe the ingredients can be so versatile, especially the meat. It tasted just like real meat.
I told you there's a lot of options for vegetarians, and thanks to innovative cooking methods, even vegetarians can have a taste of traditional Chinese cuisine.
That's right. Nowadays, with so many options, there's really no excuse anymore, even for meat lovers like myself, to not try plant-based diet.
So how do you choose a home design style that feels right? From striking the right color balance to decorating with different accessories. I think every single detail counts. So I'm going to chat with a professional today and find out more about it. From the 17 years of working in real estate, Sachin has gotten the chance to travel around the world and live in different homes. The experience made him realize that accommodations that feel like home is extremely important. Sachin, you are an expert when it comes to service apartments. I have to ask you, in terms of functionality, how have service apartments transformed over the years?
I think what's happened over the last many years is people want serviced apartments to be more than just a place to sleep. I think generally speaking now people expect a certain level of lifestyle and service out of most of their solutions, whether it's accommodation, whether it's even transport. The reason why certain concepts become so successful is because the service element is much stronger in them. So generally speaking, as sort of the world becomes more, globalized in one way, people become better traveled, the expectations that people have from their home are also changing. And I think serviced apartments have changed in line with that.
Right. Now, compared to older service apartments, what are some of the new elements that modern service apartments tend to have these days?
The way we approach it, it's about creating the ability and the spaces for people to come together. Gone are the days of coming back home from work and just spending all your time within your apartment or your your home. People want to engage with other residents who live within the serviced apartment. So creating spaces that allow people to come together. We're giving people more than just a home. We're giving them a much better lifestyle, which is convenient, which is hassle-free. But at the same time, we give them the ability to be in their private spaces if that's what they choose to do. But if they do want to interact with the broader neighborhood, if they do want to interact with the residents, we create that ability for them to do.
Now, would you say that your background in real estate or your past experiences sort of gave you a broader perspective on what people really want?
Look, I think so. And in my previous careers, I invested across the Asia-Pacific region. And a lot of the times, whether you're looking at Sydney or Singapore or Hong Kong, many people were talking about attracting talent into these cities. They were talking about innovation. But no one was talking about how are people going to afford to live in these cities that happen to be extremely expensive cities when it comes to residential real estate. And at the same time, to create global mobility, you need accommodation that suits globally mobile and internationally minded citizens. So I think that experience obviously has been incredibly helpful, being able to look at real estate from a much more holistic and sort of broader sense. And also being able to view the shifts.
So Sachin, what are some of the new elements or design of your service apartment to make people from other countries living in Hong Kong now, they feel more at home?
Sure. So one thing I would say is when we think about design, we approach it from the user standpoint. Storage, for example, in most apartments in Hong Kong is a big issue. So we've been very thoughtful about where we place the storage, how we use the space to create elements of storage that are user-friendly, but at the same time give a couple ample space, whether it's their shoes or their luggage or their overcoats or whatever it may be, to be in the space. At the end of the day, it's really about making the space as user-friendly as possible, using high-quality materials. So as you live longer in them, they sort of become a part of, I guess, your immediate environment, something that you really get used to and enjoy being in.
Now, you've given us so many great tips, but I want to know, what is the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job. When I first started, on this journey, I think the single most challenging thing was changing the customer's mindset. Making our customers understand that good design and great service does not always come at a big cost to them. What was lacking in the market, and the education that we've had to provide to the market and to our target customers as well, is translating that into good value for money for our residents as well, and demonstrating that value for them was probably the hardest part. and the fact that great design, great service is an achievable goal, and it is something that we've made accessible to a much broader target market in Hong Kong.
Well, Sachin, I have to say it's been such a delight talking to you today.
Appreciate that, Marcus.
Thank you very much for spending time with Dolce Vita.
Thank you. It's good to speak to you as well.
After the break, chat with the man behind some of the city's most popular baked goods. And try your hand at special jewelry making. Everything.
For sure. Move on to sort of some meetings around town. And then I'll usually wrap up with like a team meeting with my own internal team at the end of the day.
Now, how do you think your American background influences the way you do business here?
I think it actually influences in a lot of different ways. Just my palate. I think everyone sort of understands that the Asian sort of dessert palate is always looking for something like a little bit less sweet, a little bit less decadent. We're totally opposite of that.
But the size as well, the American size of it.
The size, our cookies are really, really big.
Yeah.
So in this case, size definitely matters. It is almost a whole meal for you. But that's what we want. It's meant to be different. It's meant to sort of disrupt, sort of the dessert and F&B culture a little bit here in Hong Kong. And I think that's why people...
Of doing all that.
I think the challenging part is just continuing to grow the business. My business started sort of organically. I was working in fashion for most of my career. And then the cookie part just sort of happened when I opened a cafe as part of my fashion business. Little did I know the cookie side of things would actually take off much faster than the fashion.
So now you're really all in on the cookies.
Yeah, at the moment. Fashion has sort of taken a back seat. And my daily challenge, I guess, is to figure out how to continue being innovative with selling cookies, creating cookies, finding new recipes.
And what's your philosophy towards your baking business?
For us, I want to bring our customers and everyone in Hong Kong something that they've just never seen before. And so far, that's been the most fun part.
People love it. And now, what do you think the future of the baking business is going to be like?
I think over the last year, we've seen a lot of sort of home bakers come up, a lot of new brands come up, whether it's cakes, cookies, different confectionaries. I think people have really had time this year to sort of stay at home and try to master their craft. It's been really fun actually to watch it. I'm really happy that we had a chance to do it and see and really showcase, I guess, like their talents without necessarily having to have your traditional restaurants or pastry or bakeries.
The conversation I had with Will really inspired me because what he said is true. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you do, just don't underestimate yourself and follow your heart. Because a lot of times, big dreams come from small ideas.
I think a piece of good accessory can tell stories and that are full of emotions and memories. I like to use jewelry as a medium to express my emotions and my personal experience. I like to use those materials that may seem to be unworthy or unimportant to the other people, but I will always give those materials their own purpose, value, and symbols through the process of designing.
When it comes to jewelry, you might immediately think of diamonds, pearls, and crystals. Whilst these materials are very valuable, there's one type of unique material you might have never thought about. And this type of material might be even more precious than gemstones.
The reason why I have designed the breast milk jam is because looking my daughter growing up, I think of those tender moments that I didn't appreciate. And I was so eager to look for ways to keep and cherish that precious short-term experience and bond between me and my daughter. Therefore, I came up with this idea of making the breast milk jams, and I hope to freeze the time and capture the snapshot of this experience that I might not be experienced again in the future. And I hope this piece of jewelry can act as a microcosm to recall those memories when both me and my daughter grows older. breast milk jam is created with the breast milk powder, birthstones, and the corresponding colors. So firstly, we'll be adding the natural formula preservation powder into the breast milk, and we will heat up the mixture while stirring it until the mixture becomes into a solid form. And next, we'll be choosing the colors for the breast milk based on the birthstones and birth color of the mom's, dad, and child's birth months. And lastly, we'll be creating the jams with the high-quality Japanese resin in a silicone mold. Some of the moms might not be breastfeeding anymore, so that they can create the family accessory with the birth jams. And the color combination is created with the combination mixture with birthstones and birth colors. And birthstones is originated from ancient Greece, and birth color is from Japan. They originally have 365 colors representing each day in a year. I think making breast milk jewelry is very meaningful because I feel like my work can provide methods for the families and especially for the moms to keep the most precious and intimate moment with their child. I always encourage to the moms or even to the parents to create the pieces by themselves because I think the making process is actually can recall or trigger those memories that we might forget. And the reason why I have added the birthstones and the birth colors into the design is that I think the breastfeeding journey is not only about the breast milk, but the relationship of the mom, dad, and child. Every single detail in an accessory is very important. Every single detail has its own meaning. For example, the twist ring is representing the connection between the moms and the child mentally and physically. And the sequence of 143 is actually a word play of a word that we as a mom say the most to our child, I love you. I really love the idea of the family accessory because it makes the whole thing more meaningful and memorable. A lot of customers, they buy a set for the mom, dad, and child, so there is an underlying connection created. Even if you don't wear it physically, or if you just look at it, it can still remind you of the love and bond within the family.
Breast milk jewelry are unique in a way that can freeze the fleeting precious moments of infancy. What more, this piece of jewelry will symbolize the unconditional love between a mother and the child.
That's all the time we have for this week's episode. If you want to find out more about what we have introduced, remember to log on to our website. In the coming weeks, indulge in the sweet life with us. Take pleasure in gourmet food from around the world. Explore fun and effective ways to stay healthy and look gorgeous. Keep up with the latest trends in every aspect of life and connect with inspiring people from different backgrounds. Be sure to tune in again next time.